All right, let's welcome in Brett Goode into the program, former Razorback, former Packer, now part of the Henderson Phillips Employer Solutions teams. Brett, there's a lot of stuff we want to get into, but really the biggest news being Dominique Bowman hired as your cornerbacks coach, still waiting on the defensive line. You and me and Tommy are probably all in the same camp where we just found out about this guy yesterday. What are your early impressions of Arkansas's new cornerbacks coach?
Well, it's a quick hire. That's good. So, there's a relationship there. And from what we're seeing on the recruiting trail, that relationship's key. And they're going to do it the way that Sam wants to do it. And that's key for our football team in building this. And so you're happy to see that. Just trying to get to know him. Heard about it yesterday, like you said, and trying to get to know him and see really how he comes in and handles the guys. And see, you're going to really know when he starts getting recruits of what type of guy he is. And we'll see, obviously, on the field what type of coach he is.
Brett, in my opinion, the defensive line is the weakest position group heading into this spring and this upcoming season. That's subject to change based on injuries, based on improvement. But when you're looking at who they're trying to get after in the defensive line, I know you played kind of on the opposite side of the ball, but what was a mentality? What was difficult to block when you were playing at Arkansas and in Green Bay that you think that Arkansas needs to get back establishing on that D-line?
Well, the big and physical, guys that are fast, and obvious answer on that, but those guys are huge. I mean, you can even see, the Green Bay game with that guy who blocked the punt against Green Bay. He was a big, tall, lanky guy that was physical, and he got after him. And those are the guys, Jamal Anderson-type bodies that, you can go out there and you can get pressure on the quarterback, and we don't have to blitz every time to get pressure on the quarterback. We're able to do that and stop the run, and it frees up our linebackers and our D-backs and allows them to make plays.
Seems like Sam learned a ruthless persistence on recruiting here, and if that means letting go of staff and making changes, we've seen him do it both years. What's the message being sent to the rest of the staff? I mean, it seems pretty clear and obvious, but that to me also seems like the audience, when he makes these changes with his staff, and particularly with Ashley on the defensive line, there's a message certainly sent to everyone else in the building about the importance of recruiting, Brett.
Yeah, it's just a message. You want to get the message across that, we're going to do it this way. And if you're not going to do it, you're not going to be here. There's going to be obviously guys moving on to different careers, maybe get a head coaching opportunity. But, he wants that message sent out to his current players and his future players, and he wants it to do it the right way. And we don't know what happens behind closed doors, how they handle, themselves in the meetings and conduct themselves outside of football. But all that stuff goes into, he wants high-character guys on that side to create high-character guys on the football team, because we know, it's a proven history of where he's been. We saw that Georgia offensive line in the national championship game, how good they were. That was a credit to Sam. That was his guys that he recruited, and that's the type of guys that he wants, high-character guys that are going to go out there and you can trust them on the field.
When you're evaluating a coach just solely as a recruiter, forget the development and on-the-field coaching for just a second, what's the most important things? Is it identifying and evaluating the talent, or is it your ability to go out and have some salesmanship about you, some charisma, and build the relationship? What's the proper makeup and the proper ingredients for a great recruiter?
Talent's always going to be there. You're going to get a lot of people messaging you through Twitter and everything else. They're getting a lot of stuff sent to them, but it's the guys that can go in there and sell themselves, especially with this NIL. You've got to go in there and sell yourself, and then keep these guys along with, developing them and making sure they move forward in the right direction. But you've got to sell yourself every single year now. No, there's not a whole lot of loyalty where guys are staying, long-term at a college right now with the NIL deals going on. And so you've got to sell yourself yearly to your current guys plus the future guys. And even, when you get these commits, you can't just, slack off. You've got to stay on top of them. And you got to be true. That's the thing is these families, they can read through the BS of everything, of trying, a guy who's fake, and they want somebody who's real, who's going to, take them in and love them. Because, these mamas and daddies and grandmas, they're leaving their kids away. You're going to be basically their guardian, trying to get these people millions of miles away. I know it's not a million miles, but you're getting them away from their family, and you got to be there for them. You've got to be that support staff for them, and they want to see that when you're recruiting them.
Brett Goode with us here on the Morning Rush. Brett, there's been a couple of preseason predictions that have already come out for the 2022 college football season in the SEC. Brad Crawford in 24/7 Sports has you going to 7-5. Stephen Latson of Athlon Sports has you all the way at 3rd in the SEC West. You played here. What's better for this program where they get high accolades and they're getting more notice from national recruits, or is it better when a lot of people pick them as kind of a bottom dweller in this division and they get to prove themselves?
Well, the bottom dwellers always, they have that chip on their shoulder. They have that, the ability. They like to be there. They like to be the underdog. Well, we're not going to be the underdog right now. Everybody is respecting us. We're getting that national media attention. And what we're also catching is we're catching the eyes of all these other coaches and players where they've got to take us seriously. So that makes everything tougher. We're going to get a lot better shots from teams. This year, obviously, our schedule is, toughest in the league. And so they're going to be going in the right direction. I wouldn't say that that we're going to be discredited anymore. We're not going to be that team that was unprepared and uncoached. And people are going to respect us, and they're going to go out there, and we've got to have good game plans, and we've got to go out there and establish the line of scrimmage, because that is what has helped us so far. Under these first 2 years is when we establish that line of scrimmage on the offense and defensive line and run the ball. Our offense is doing great, and we're in a lot of ball games.
Brett, you talk about respect. I think that Jerry Jones has a lot of respect for the football acumen of Sean Payton, and he announced yesterday that he's not going to be with the Saints anymore. Says he wants to get into television. You always raise your eyebrows when a coach says that because coaches love to coach. Will Sean Payton at some point be in Dallas as the Dallas Cowboys head coach?
I think if Mike doesn't, they have another year this year that they lose in the first round of the playoffs, yeah, I think that's a viable option. But, here's the thing, too. Think about John Madden. These coaches, they want to coach. Well, he's probably got a good contract out there to get into media, and they're still coaching when they're on the film. You're watching the game and you're hearing them break down these offense and defenses, and that's entertaining for the fans, and that's all. That's growing the game, and so they're always able to do that. And I think he has got a great personality. It'd be interesting to hear him talk and see how he conducts himself. Not everybody is meant for media. We've seen, Jason Witten, when he came out, he was going to get into it, and then obviously, he was hard to watch. He was hard to listen to. Tony Romo does a great job, and a lot of former guys, they do an excellent job, and I think Sean would be one of those guys.
So read the body language. Read what Aaron Rodgers is saying for us. You know him personally. When you heard his comments, you saw him walking off the field after the game against the 49ers. What were the thoughts that went through your mind about the future of the current quarterback in Green Bay?
It's always tough. End of the season, you got a lot of emotions going on. The team's never going to be the same. No teams come back. The same players. You're always going to have turnover. And for a guy like him, saying he doesn't want to go through a rebuild, I don't know if that means restructuring his deal so that they can keep some other guys. But Green Bay's they don't have any room on the salary cap, so they've got to make some tough decisions this offseason. And I know I've heard that there's 3 draft picks, that Denver's supposedly going to offer up at some point, and those are the decisions they're going to have to make. And the other problem is with Jordan Love, you don't know what you have in him. When Brett Favre moved on, they knew what they had in Aaron. They don't really know that with Jordan Love, and so there's a lot of what ifs and what's going to happen. Trying to keep this team together and try to build, a championship caliber team.
Yeah. All right, the NFC and AFC championship games are this weekend. Who do you like to win to be in the Super Bowl February 13th?
I think this last weekend, was probably one of the best weekends of NFL playoff football. And, Joe Burrow is amazing. Being able to get sacked that many times and still get up and throw the ball and sling it, I think he's going to go in there and, to Kansas City, and he's not going to be scared, not going to be timid. But Kansas City's been playing well. They obviously, 13 seconds, is not much time, and they were able to go down and put that game away. So you've always got things going on that you've got to do through this. So I like Joe Burrow. I think it's going to be tough for him to go in there. I'd like to see Cincinnati do it. I know there's a lot of people going to be rooting for Kansas City. And I think L.A. is going to, try to be the second team. It would be back-to-back years where they try and get to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl in their home stadium.
Yeah, 3 of those 4 games last weekend we know were decided by walk-off field goals, which means there were 3 highly successful long snaps back to the holder, right? So
that's right. You got to have a good long snap, and this key, the Green Bay game, the long snapper kind of blew a block there, and that's what made the block punt for a touchdown for San Francisco and allowed them to get back in the ball game. So snapping is very important, especially in the playoffs when it comes down to the end.
especially when it's snowing in the second half. Brett Goode played for 10 years with the Green Bay Packers, former Razorback, now with us on Wednesday mornings. But you can call him about employee benefits, whether it's group health and life and dental and vision and those things for your employees, or if you need commercial or personal insurance. 651-2292. Brett, what are some of the big things you're solving for clients these past few weeks?
Well, it's really just breaking down all these plans and trying to get the best every option that we can. Getting these carriers to fight against themselves and get the best rates that we can. We're seeing, all across the board because of COVID and everything else. People are having claims, and so you're really just going after them and trying to attack them and getting a good game plan for these groups and trying to get them in the right situation so they can, keep their employees and get some new hires.
All right, give Brett a call. That's his direct number, 479-651-2292 for Brett Goode with Henderson Phillips. Good job, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
BetOnline would like to wish you a happy new betting year as we continue our march to the playoffs and beyond. BetOnline remains the #1 spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022. New year and a new updated desktop and mobile wagering to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE to get started. That's BLEAV. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for 2022. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.